Greetings. So, the topic of today's video is how to get the big shoulders. And since they're my second best body part next to my arms, I'll explain briefly how to acquire them. Now, the biggest thing for big shoulders is high volume. You need to hit them with a lot of sets, high reps. I mean, strength is important, but when it comes to shoulders, high reps, you need to really get crazy with those high reps, like 50-60 reps on your sets when you do your side laterals and stuff like that. High reps will really help you a lot. Now, other things that I could say how to develop them is start your rear delts first. If you noticed, when you start pumping your shoulders, you can get biggest side delt pump ever. You will be really wide, but try doing really like a lot of band face pulls, band pull aparts, rear delt flies. You can do them with dumbbells or with cables, and you will see when you get a crazy pump in your rear delts, you will notice that you are much wider, because that's why people develop their shoulders. They want to get really wide. So start with your rear delts first. Second thing is focus on progression in strength on your main pressing exercise. I mean, when you do your vertical presses, obviously you want to increase your standard overhead press, like so that you can get stronger on it, which will in turn give you bigger shoulders. So how will you do this? Well, you will switch up exercises over weeks, but start with your standard overhead press. You know, standard thing, the full extension. You should be able. You should be able to stretch enough to go into this position, that your arms are really behind your head, because there are some people are limited in stretch, so they can only go up to here. That's not enough for building optimal shoulders. So start week 1, or the first 2 weeks, do your standard overhead press. Then switch to overhead press on the knees. It's a bit different variation, but you will have a carryover to your standard overhead press. Then third week you can do the exercise that Zydrunas Savickas, the world-renowned strongman, used, called the Z-press. It's named after him. So you basically sit on your butt, put your legs in a straight line in front of you, you spread them. Basically your legs need to be fully extended, and you sit on your butt. And then do overhead press from there. Now be wary of the weight, because you won't be able to go as heavy on your on your standard overhead press. So switch up over those 3 weeks, those 3 exercises, which will give a direct carryover to your standard overhead press. Also, you can get some bands. Just do banded overhead press. Also, partial range of motion could help you on that. So basically, you get to the power rack, put your barbell in power rack, set to a certain pin height, and progressively move the pins higher and higher. This will also give you more strength on the overhead press. Now another thing, so we covered the strength, we covered starting with the rear delts. Now the high reps part. I talked about nucleus overload and feeder workouts, which Piana uses, which will give the bigger shoulders. So you can do those before every night. I will just explain briefly what those are. Basically, feeder workouts are each time before you go to sleep, you do like 2 to 3 sets of really high reps. So you do 100 rear delt flies and 100 side laterals, and with a real lightweight, like 5 kilos. That's, I think, 11 pounds. So you do like 100 reps of each, 3 sets. So 300 reps for rear delts, 300 reps for side delts every night before you go to bed. So those high reps, it will give you amazing results. I'll give you pictures when I did a 2-month period when I did those every day, and my shoulders grew like crazy. So what else is there about building big shoulders? Well, your nutrition needs to be on point. Eat a lot, 6 meals a day at least. Other things. Well, front raises, I'd say discard those altogether. That's pretty much useless exercise. You don't really need to even focus on your front delts, because when you do your bench pressing, dips, incline, those get worked like a motherfucker. So rear delts need to be your number 1 concern, because when you lean forward, the rear delts start to pop out. And also from the side, it will give you huge shoulders, but it could make your arms look smaller, so don't neglect training your arms if you do a lot of rear delt work. What else is there? Behind the neck press, if you can do it, it's maybe the number 1 exercise. For those who don't know what behind the neck press is, the name explains itself. Get a barbell and do it for overhead press from here, as you can see. Now be wary of the weight, don't go really heavy on these, it can really damage your rotator cuff. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Now, how do I train my delts? I hit them 3 times a week, each session I do 6 supersets. So I'll explain how I do those supersets. So I get a band and I do 30 band pull aparts. Now, important technique on these, which I notice I get a real better burn in my rear delts. So you start from a lower position and you raise it and then pull it apart. So do 30 those. Then get a pair of dumbbells and do 20 to 30 bent over laterals, or rear delt flies as you can call them. So you get a sick pump in your rear delts. And this will not really influence the strength on your main pressing exercise. So you'll be really able to go heavy on this. So you do your standard pressing exercise next. No rest in between, no rest. So you go, maybe it's a standard overhead press on knees or the Z press. And you do maximum reps with, I do like 12 to 15 reps. Like, you can always switch up the rep ranges on this main pressing exercise. So that's about it. And then immediately, once you're finished with that, grab really light dumbbells, like 5 kilo dumbbells, and do 30 to 40 side laterals. It's important to get a sick pump, but also to progress in your main lift. So that's the first superset for arms. Then shoulders, what am I talking about? And then you rest like 30 seconds to a minute and repeat that 6 times. That is how I train my shoulders. So this video is a bit rambly. I hope that this is informative. As you can see, you can get those Cannonball delts. So I hope you have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon.